Hello, and welcome back to Book Critique, a show where we talk about your mom and what she eats. I'm being joined by my husband.
What are you talking about, my mom? No, it's good to be here. This is my book critique debut. This has been your channel for the past 6 videos, and I'm glad to be here for the 7th.
Yes, so this is Dakota, and we've been married for a while, and you usually see us together on Geek Critique, our other show, where we sit on this exact same couch.
Yes.
And we do something very similar. So we're going to talk about this book, The Rise of Kyoshi. I am a bit late to the party because now the second book is out.
Right.
But I really liked it. I love Avatar, as you can tell by my shirt.
Yeah.
He designed.
Hey, I designed the
description.
shirt. Yeah, link in the description. I designed the shirt. Yay!
I really love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I grew up with that show. And to dive a bit deeper into the world that these creators have made was like a really fun experience for me. However,
absolutely.
The book is not without its flaws.
If you guys liked the video, please be sure to like and subscribe for more book critique content from yours truly. No, we'll actually do the video now. So, okay. The Rise of Kyoshi, I actually introduced you to The Rise of Kyoshi because I was listening to it at work and I loved it so much. I listened to that book, its sequel, and then I re-listened to both of them.
Yes. He was talking about it nonstop. Mm-hmm. And he was like, you have to read it. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And I actually had an assignment for school where they were like, read any YA book that was written before 2015. So this kind of worked perfectly. So for my assignment, I have to like kind of picture it like as if it's good for children to read in school. But if you have seen The Last Airbender, you know from the end of that series that Kyoshi's kind of a savage.
Yes.
And even in the season 2 where they kind of go a little bit into her backstory, like she'll do what needs to be done, even if it's hard for her. So it's interesting because at the offset of this story, she is so far from that like confident, stoic, strong character and mysterious character that we know her to be. She's a very complicated teenager, and she is just still like has a very low opinion of herself because she doesn't realize that she's the Avatar. So when we meet her, it's just like so different than what you're expecting when you're opening a book about Avatar Kyoshi.
Right. It's a totally different character than what we see her final, basically, incarnation of being like in the Avatar world from flashbacks in The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. So at the offset of this story, and this isn't a spoiler because it's you know that this is about Avatar Kyoshi. They have another avatar that they believe that they found, Avatar Yoon. They've mistook this poor child as the Avatar, and he's trying his utmost to perform his Avatar duties, but he can only bend Earth. And he does it really well, but he can only bend Earth. And it's not until, maybe a fourth of the way into the novel where Kyoshi realizes maybe she is the Avatar. And
even then, it's still, like, uncertain. Like, basically, It kind of, she has, like, a mentor type character who basically pitches to her that he thinks she might actually be the Avatar. And the way that all comes about is really cool and interesting. And it's just funny because so far with all of the stories that you may have read with the Avatar, you have Aang, who from the first episode knows he's the Avatar. You have Korra, who literally as a baby was kicking through walls, screaming, "I'm the Avatar, get used to it."
I'm the Avatar, you gotta deal with it!
But then here with this story, you have a maid girl who is just super humble, and the thought that she might be the Avatar is absolutely puzzling because she's not even that good of an earthbender. Basically, just from the beginning of this, you're totally, like, not where you're expecting to be. And the whole story kind of continues that way, where there's no clear-cut, predictable path of which way her life is going to turn or take.
But I also think that that's part of the weakness of the book. The fact that it can go any which way is a strong thing, because it gives the writer complete creative control here, but it also leaves it so wide open that her story can go anywhere, and it does kind of go everywhere. Somewhere near the second act of the book, it just gets slow, and it's a slog to try to figure out, what is this side quest that she's on? while it's fulfilled at the end of the story and you understand more of like why she had to go through certain hurdles, it does slow the book down quite a bit. And I think that's probably one of the things that you felt was a weakness of the book too, right?
Yeah, there is a part, obviously, again, without going into spoilers, in the middle where I was just kind of like... So the problem with me is I'm a huge procrastinator. So like as soon as I took it on as an assignment, suddenly it was like I was less excited to read it. So I couldn't tell if it was a me issue, but I do think it's like a bit of both where it's me and the storytelling. Because I was trying to like rush through it for an assignment, but then there's this like lull in the middle where it's like not a lot of direction. And also then you get to the like they skip a huge part and you get to the climax and there's like flashbacks
to the part that they
skipped. And it's like, if you would have just told it in a more traditional style of storytelling, I think it would have flowed a bit more naturally. I like that they're trying to like break away and do something a little more unique, but I think that to do it at such a crucial part of the story that's so exciting and then break away and go to like a more boring part is like kind of annoying.
I agree. I also find, while I enjoy all the characters in the book, it never feels like a team Avatar.
No, yeah.
And it never feels like, besides Rongi, her best bud, it never really feels like the other crew are part of this adventure and they have like arcs, you know? You learn a little bit about their past, but that's as much character growth as you're going to get out of those characters.
Yeah, and there's certain characters that I can't even, like, after reading the book, I don't really even remember much about. And it's just kind of like, they're just people that are just there. You have some characters
that are in the moment, and then, you know, upon further reflection, there's not much there.
However, I do have to say, to, like, counter that, the villains, plural maybe, are really, really good and really compelling and interesting. And I actually found the chapters going from the villain's perspective to be like some of my favorite chapters, just because of how it's kind of like a Thrawn, very calculative, precise, and even when things are falling apart, still is like confident that they have it together.
Maniacally confident.
It's good.
It's a really done villain story, and yeah, I think that's probably the strength of these books is. Even going into the second book, I don't think we should get into spoilers for this review.
Yeah.
I think we should stick to non-spoilers here. But just talking about the overall villains of not only this book, but the sequel.
You're like pointing to the books.
Yeah, I'm pointing at the book. It's on her lap. Sorry, I'm not just touching her legs.
Yeah, he's just like pointing to my thighs.
The sequel novel also has an incredibly strong villain, but I think my favorite is probably the villains in this first novel.
Yeah.
I highly recommend this series. It's not the best. It's not at the height of what The Last Airbender is. But if you want to experience more time in that universe, this is exactly what you need.
It is really good for like YA in general, which is what I have to write that essay on, which I should probably do soon. Because it's her kind of like exploring her own path and figuring out how to make this role her own and how to deal with really crazy like world conditions. So I think for kids, I think a lot of times, like I remember feeling like that when I was a teen. It's like suddenly you have to like pick a career and pick a life and you're making all of these choices and you feel very ill prepared for them. And it's almost like you go from being a kid and suddenly it's like, so what do you want to do when you grow up? And it's just like all of a sudden now you have to start thinking about that stuff. And it's kind of scary. And I think she kind of goes through that in a way that she's not a very graceful person and she is aware of that. But she's just trying to figure out how to be her own avatar. And I think it's really cool.
Yeah, they nailed that perspective really well. And there are certain scenes in the novel, like when you think of Avatar, you think of some of the crazy fight scenes, some of the martial arts that you learn. And you learn a lot more about like the styles of modern martial arts that they use, some of the types of like usages of chi that we kind of get glimpses of in The Last Airbender, Legend of Korra, but they kind of like dive into a little more of like the Buddhism aspect of airbending and firebending and all that. So I think that's cool. Some of the actual acts that she performs as the Avatar is really incredible. One thing that I really liked that this book does, and just looking at the Kyoshi figure, the Kyoshi face and costume that we see in Avatar The Last Airbender. It's such a notable costume. You know, the writers really thought like long and hard about like what this particular Earthbender Avatar was going to do, or what she was going to look like. But what this book does is answer why she's wearing that face paint, why she has the headdress and the gloves and the fans. Like, why would an Earth Kingdom Avatar need fans to perform some of the big feats that she does? It explains that in this novel really, really well.
Yeah, because you would think like fans would come from an airbender. It's like, why is she? Which is something like so many times during the intro, you never think about it. You see this earthbender with fans, and you're like, oh, cool, whatever. It's just like, I think that they did a really good job of explaining that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Would you recommend this book to someone who's never seen Avatar: The Last Airbender?
I think it's good on its own. It doesn't read like fan fiction. It kind of is just its own entirely different thing. And I think when I was a teen, if I just like picked this up, and I probably would have just read it and really enjoyed it. Another thing too that I wanted to talk about is like the political elements of the way that they choose the Avatar and the role of the Avatar, because you can really see in this book how crucial the Avatar is to the political realm, which I don't think we really see that much in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Or
even a little bit more in The Legend of Korra,
yeah,
but less in Avatar: The Last Airbender because he's on the run most of the entire show. But with, the Rise of Kyoshi, with this era of the Avatar, the Earth Kingdom is like really trying to wield the power that comes with the Avatar. You understand what I'm saying? It's really well done. The political intrigue in this novel is far stronger, I think, than anything else that we've seen in the Avatar universe.
Yeah, totally. It's like every nation basically is waiting for their turn to raise the Avatar and shape the world to their betterment, which I had never thought of. So this is like the Earth Kingdom's time to like basically cast their influence on the rest of the world while they have the chance. So the fact that they don't even know who the Avatar is like terrifying to them. So I think that's probably all we should say about this, just because I think we do like a pretty good, coverage of this book. But if you are interested in Avatar, The Rise of Kyoshi, then I have the link in the description down below. It's the Amazon link. So check that out. Thank you for watching this. Please like and subscribe and stay tuned for more, fine folks. I have a couple more videos that I want to film today, and we filmed some stuff for Geek Critique, so please sub over there as well if you probably know us more from over there than here, so whatever. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye, guys.